Welcome, Ekua Cant. Thanks for having the time and join our podcast. You obviously had your talk yesterday already. Can you maybe introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. My name is Ekua Cant. I am a LinkedIn visibility expert. And yesterday, I spoke about how to build your personal brand in the AI age. As you know, it's very quick and easy to make content these days. Everyone is using AI tools. But, you want to stand out. So the whole point of my talk was, why do you want to be the same in a sea of sameness? You don't actually. You want to be unique, you want to be authentic, but how can you do that effectively by using AI tools that everyone else is using? And I talked a bit more about how you might want to train it, how you might want to give it your tone of voice, how you might want to ask it to ghostwrite in your style, and how you also might want to actually not just use it, but also use it as a way to create ideas, but also a way to decide what is good and what's not good, because actually it's not always good.
No,
it isn't.
Definitely not. Hey, and before deep diving a little bit more in your talk, what do you normally do during your day-to-day work?
Yeah, so normally I work with speakers. So I'm actually on a mission to help 1 million diverse speakers get paid to speak by 2030.
Oh, wow.
I have an award-winning book called Your Platform Power. And that's how to build your personal brand in a polarized world. So it's all about using my expertise as a LinkedIn expert to really help you deep dive into thinking about how do you become a speaker that is relevant, that's credible, and that uses the right tools on LinkedIn, but also who understands the full system, what it means to be visible, and what it means to actually become a paid speaker.
Okay, wow. So, and then it's beautiful that you can be on stage here as well, of course, and show everybody how to do it.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah, exactly. And how did it go?
It went well.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, I mean, it was a great atmosphere. There were lots of engaged people. And the stream was very well curated. So as I was just mentioning before, the person before me was talking a bit about more the technical details, but I was talking more about branding and more about getting into actually how you might use it as an individual or a company to build like a business brand or a personal brand or a speaker brand.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Okay. So authenticity on LinkedIn using AI is really difficult for a lot of people, right? Because when you post yourself, like yourself, manually written content, it's you. And what is your trick to get an AI to understand that and ghostwrite stuff? Do you have some ideas for that?
Definitely. The first thing is it's as good as what the information that you put in. So garbage in, garbage out, basically. So if you haven't actually given it any context, or if you haven't actually shown it how you write naturally, and I know that sometimes people feel vulnerable and slightly naked because they're like, oh no, but isn't AI better? No, that's not the point. The point is you are training it to be like you, or even be as close to you as possible. So actually you need to just be authentic and not feel worried, and put in your authentic writing. Share samples of your articles, your blogs, your emails, whatever kind of content that you're creating that you want it to imitate, and ask it to ghostwrite and be as close as possible to your style and tone, and ask it not to use some of those horrible words it likes to use, like no fluff, because then it's obvious that it's probably been written by AI. But if you train it, you might even want to give it your own vocabulary script. So you might say, I have these 10 words which I really love, and actually, please, every time I write something, use one of these 10 words. So it kind of gets your language and your words, or your isms, I'd like to say.
And so I downloaded all my LinkedIn posts in the past to feed it to an agent, but it never works. I have to do a lot of stuff myself. So
yes, so the point about it is you have to edit. You can't just let it be free range.
No.
Because the point is, it can only do what you ask it to do, and if you don't actually see what it produces, and it's like a baby. If you tell it that it's doing good, it will do better stuff. So once it comes out wrong or not as well as you'd like it, then you say, okay, that was not a good output. Can we go again? Perhaps you can use this word, or more like this one that I liked. and it's like, oh yes, okay, I'll do that today. Perfect, well done.
First time I hear that.
You have to train it. It's like a toddler.
yeah.
Give it treats.
Oh, amazing. Hey, and how many times do you have a sort of holy grail for yourself? How many times do you post, for example, on LinkedIn or other platforms?
Yeah, LinkedIn is my main platform. I'm atypical. I post 7 days a week, but I don't say that you...
7 days a week?
7 days a week, yes.
Okay.
I did not start this way, but it's something that I've decided that I want to do as someone who is very intimately linked with the platform and just how it operates. Because essentially, it's not... The fact is that your content doesn't always go out to who you expect it to go out to. So the more times that you're giving the opportunity for it to be seen, the better. But that doesn't mean you need to post as much. But what it does mean is when you are posting, let's say it's once, 3 times, whatever cadence you choose, that it is something that you have really taken the time to create and to make sure that it has a point that is really focused on your target audience or the object of why you're on LinkedIn. Because a lot of times people are very specific or clear and they're wondering why they don't get results, why they didn't get engagement or feedback or whatever. But if you're unclear, then you need to start with the clarity of the goal before you put something out and expect people to engage. And also, if you're not regular, people can't expect to know that you're going to show up. So people know that I show up every day. So, it's regular. And people sometimes are like worried if I don't show up. It's that regular.
Yeah. And do you then post every day LinkedIn post or an article? Because that is also something that has come up, of course.
The Pulse articles.
Exactly.
So my articles, I don't post every day. I post a general LinkedIn post every day. And then I have specialized times where I have a newsletter and I post on the newsletters, and sometimes I also do articles. But articles are actually great because if we're talking about, if you're wanting to get more AI citations, having these LinkedIn articles and structuring it in the way that AI really loves in terms of like the lists, the facts, and making sure that you're being balanced, can really be a way for you to actually get some of your content served out to the places that you want to be served to.
Yeah. And is that something that, because for our listeners that never wrote or published a LinkedIn Pulse article before, do you have some advice for them? How to structure them? How do you know where to write about? What works or what doesn't work?
Yeah, so I would say keep it clear and specific about one topic. Don't try to do like 5 things in one. Okay. I mean, just like any person, you're going to be confused. Like the more focused, the more like laser focus it is on one specific part of your expertise, one specific problem, one specific like myth per se, one thing that you want to challenge, but that one topic, and then structuring it into like an intro into.
Session 3 will be starting in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about structuring it. So you want to make sure that you introduce it, so you don't assume that everyone knows your area.
Yeah.
So you do that intro, then you make your 3 main points, and then you give some kind of like conclusion. But I think the temptation is not to write everything that you know, but give it like a summary of like the main things for that one main thing that you're trying to articulate, and that is the goal. So think about like if you're going to explain it as simply as possible to like a friend or a child, like what would you say in that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think one discussion that happens a lot in the Netherlands when it comes to LinkedIn personal brand is the picture of yourself. I have a lot of discussions about that also because people tend to place a picture of themselves without the context of the post. And what is your stance on that? Some people find it a bit narcissistic to always post your own picture on LinkedIn, but it's also recognizable when it comes to personal brand, right? So what is your stance on that?
Yeah, well, I think that sometimes it's not about being narcissistic, it's about being comfortable with the fact that actually LinkedIn is your channel, it's your name. Yeah. If it's a personal brand, so I'm going to assume that it's your name. If it's your company, that's slightly different. But if
narcissistic was not the right word, but
yes,
you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. But like if it's a personal brand, then people would expect to see pictures of you. And as much as you might not feel that every picture of you is a great picture, you might just want to choose a selection of pictures you feel happy with, and use those pictures and use pictures with you and other people. But there's no awkwardness about it. It is your channel. It's your street. Like I say, people are there to see you and to hear from you. So I understand why it feels weird, but actually, it's not weird.
No.
In my view.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and is there also no, let's put it in another way. Let's say that somebody has a day per week time to load their personal brand. what would you then advise to do in that limited time?
So again, it's about being clear on your goals and objectives. So I have a framework which is called CASH, and that basically stands for C, clarity of your goals, A for aligned action, S for your strategy, and A for being happy to serve and to be in community and to actually create opportunities for yourself. So one of the things I would say is thinking about making content. The second is actually about getting involved in the right conversations. So one of the things I actually want to just to share is that comments which are thoughtfully made can be content and actually also become future posts. So if you are actually engaging in people's conversations that are thought-provoking, that are relevant to your industry, and you comment and it's a really interesting viewpoint, it adds to what was happening in that conversation, you can also actually reuse that comment as your own post.
True. Yeah.
So I would think about it in that way.
Good
that
one.
you can work smart, not hard.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do the comment for each comment, but
Yeah.
doesn't work, I guess. No, but I think most of people only post their own and do not comment a lot, except for congratulations.
I mean, those comments have a place. And I definitely agree that you need to be supportive and collegiate to your community. But when you're getting involved in discussions for your industry or for advancing your career or your business, then those comments can actually be repurposed.
Yeah. I think it's actually quite in line with some other podcasts that we recorded with other speakers here, that we're explaining that we have to switch a little bit more from thinking about keywords to thinking about the conversations that people have, like your audience have, about your product or service. And I actually think it's quite smart. It sounds quite logical that when you comment on a post, what you see, and that you create a post about it. But I think that a lot of people forget.
Yeah, I know. It can seem a bit like counterintuitive, actually.
Yeah.
But actually, one of the things that I've been taught about commenting is actually when you are effective in thinking about why you're commenting and what you're commenting for, when you write those comments, actually, you could be thinking about, actually, how can I spread people wanting to be curious about my product and my service?
Yeah.
And not in a way that's like spammy to other people, but in a way that's thoughtful. And actually, once it's thoughtful, everyone benefits, and actually you benefit doubly because you can then actually repurpose that comment into a post, an article.
Yeah, lovely.
And the nice thing is you can't automate that stuff, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
It should be manually done.
Yes, I mean, people are automating comments on LinkedIn, but I think that the more effective comments are those ones that people have made themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and is there one last thing for you that you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, so I would say that LinkedIn visibility, when we talk about consistency, it isn't just about the volume. It's about the mindset and the attitude. So a lot of the time people are worried about being judged. They're worried they're not doing enough. But what I really urge your community to think about is, why am I on LinkedIn? What's my goal and what's my objective? And then if you think about that, scale your action in alignment with that. So if you're building a business, then clearly you want to show up a bit more than if you're building a career or personal, professional, showing up. So think about why are you there? What are you actually trying to do? Because if you're wanting to build business, that means there's more involved. Content outreach, and all the rest of those things. If you're being more professional, then again, it's about content, but it's also about joining relevant discussions and collaborating with people. So I would just think, be clear on the goals and then align the time to invest in actually building the results that you want.
Very nice one. Be clear on the goals.
Yeah. I think we have one last question, right?
We do.
And you are not in SEO, but you are a personal brand specialist. We always ask the question, what is your biggest SEO fuck up? But we want to put it into the LinkedIn visibility fuck up for yourself or for a client, maybe.
Okay.
So really curious.
Okay. Well, so when AI first came out, I didn't really realize that you had to do editing. So I was very naive, and I thought, you know what? You put the stuff in, you take it out, you post it out, and job's done. And I realised people didn't take too much of that.
So you learned a lot from that.
I learned from that.
Oh, amazing! Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
Hey, I
very
think,
nice. Nice to have you on this podcast. Very thank you. Right.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you so much, and have a lovely day.
Cheers.